Hello, St. Peter family. Pastor Micah here, coming to you from our home. It is getting warmer and brighter outside. The days are longer. The birds are back and the flowers and trees are looking fantastic. Hopefully, as we're wrapping up our school year, getting ready for summer mode, you're getting a chance to get outside and enjoy it. I know as soon as I'm done recording this video, I'm gonna head outside and start doing some work on our backyard patio area, the last big part of our home renovation project, and super excited to be able to lean into that. But before we go into full-on summer mode at St. Peter, there is one important thing we need to do as a congregation. If you've not been around St. Peter for a while or not been involved, we have a regular voters meeting every May. It's an important one where we elect a couple members to our governing board. We ratify the budget that has been reviewed and approved by our governing board for the next fiscal year, which starts July 1st. And then we also have some conversations about important plans and dreams and topics around our congregation and community. And so for this voters meeting, we're expecting most of that time and conversation to focus on the plans we have to renovate our campus, starting with our sanctuary and our main entrance, lobby, and office areas. We're going to have Bob Flubacher, a member of our congregation and architect, there to help walk us through what currently is being envisioned. And then I'll be able to give some updates on the progress in our capital campaign. We're in the phase right now where we're recruiting the campaign leadership. We're ready to launch it over the summer and especially in the fall. And so you'll hear more about that when you come in person. Also, if you're watching this video, you may have received the email where we gave a link and some information about our voters meeting. And in that email, you'll also see the report from the feasibility study phase of our capital campaign. If you didn't get that email, just take a look at our church website, as well as you can contact anyone in the main office and they can get you a copy of that report. So, what I'm going to cover today in this video is a couple other topics to get ready for the meeting, including candidates for the governing board, a review of our financial condition for this year, and our budget for next year as well. So our governing board currently has 7 individuals. Mike McClune is our chair, Mike Bergerman, our vice chair, Kathy Relias, our secretary, and then 4 other members at large, Shauna Burhop, David Darengowski, Joel Kester, and Stacy Larson. As you can see, 2 of those are nearing the end of their first 3-year term, Mike Berderman and Stacy Larson. And we are super excited as a board. They are willing to stand again for election to another term. And so those 2 candidates will be brought forward as an uncontested slate of candidates to fill those 2 spots. And we're excited to be able to see their leadership on our board continue. So that part of the meeting should be pretty simple and straightforward. We have a fantastic board, a strong leadership, and we see that continuing in the future. What you also will see if you receive the email is a budget for next year that includes a report with some projections on this current fiscal year. So let me just walk you through some of that so you can have a little bit of background before we come to the meeting. In this current fiscal year, we're doing really well. We anticipate finishing the year in the black, which is fantastic. That happens probably about 9 out of 10 times, or years rather. And so we are tremendously blessed. It wasn't always that way. And so we're thankful for the discipline of our staff and our finance team in particular. So a couple highlights I want to point out about our projections for this fiscal year. We're looking to close in pretty close to that $2 million target for our regular tithes and offerings. We're super thankful for all of you who are generous to support the ministry here. Keep that going, including when we have our capital campaign. We need that ongoing support in order to maintain the ministry moving forward. Tuition for this year, it looks like it's going to come in around $3.6 million, which is wonderful. It's a little less than we had budgeted, which is a little challenging. Every time around this year, we try to get a good idea on enrollment. I'll touch on this a little bit later on, but it's impossible to predict exactly what our enrollment will be for the next year. What you're going to see in just a moment is we make adjustments from the time we pass the budget and throughout the fiscal year to maintain a balanced position. And so you'll see a little bit later on, we adjusted some of our costs in the school, some of our staffing to match what our enrollment actually turned out to be. Program income, shout out to Michelle Fritz and everyone on our summer camp and our extended care teams did a wonderful job this year, and our program income for that is up substantially, about $156,000. And so we're thankful for how that helps contribute to the overall health of our school and our church ministry as a whole. One other significant shift is the Saints Annual Fund. You'll see we're projecting that at about $95,000. What that does is that goes to fund what we don't collect by way of variable tuition, where we adjust tuition to match what the financial condition of our families actually is. That came in substantially lower than we budgeted, but that was our plan. What we had in our budget for this year, and you'll see something similar for next year, is we have an option where we can make a targeted ask with some matching challenges from our foundation and other sources if we need it in order to help in a given fiscal year. We didn't need it this year, so we didn't exercise that option. And so that right there is about what we had hoped and planned for this year. What you will also notice is our church salary and benefits were up a little bit to $750,000 and change. That's a little more than we planned for a couple reasons. One, we knew that Lexi Schmidt, who is is on our Link City Director team, we knew that she was going to be changing roles and didn't expect it to continue past the end of 2024. But God blessed it, and we were able to maintain and keep her in that Link position, and then also add a new leader to the Link team that partners with St. Peter, Dave Ficken. So by adding those two positions to the second half of the year and also keeping Isabel Peterson in an ongoing position, she had been an assistant to Karen Kogler, who you may know retired at the end of last year. And so we didn't expect that position to continue quite as it did, but we were glad that she continues on our team. It's worth noting that most of the cost for Lexi and Dave is offset by grants from our foundation because it's a shared position with Link Chicago. So it doesn't have a significant negative impact on our financial position. One other major shift was in the major repairs area. As you know, and you'll hear if you come to our meeting, we have some major deferred maintenance items and just an aging facility built primarily in the 60s and the early 70s. It's starting to show its wear and tear. And so we spent about $68,000 more than we had planned on major repairs, but it was what was needed, and we made adjustments and we took care of those projects. When we complete our campus restoration and modernization plan over the next several years, many, if not all, of those deferred maintenance items will be addressed through that. So that's a super important part of our capital campaign and moving forward. We also tightened our belts in the school world to match our existing enrollment for this year, adjusting some of our positions, and so we were able to bring costs down there as well to match what you saw earlier in terms of lower tuition dollars on the income side. And so the net result of all of that was income that was about $106,000 lower than what we had budgeted, but expenses that were $120,000 lower than what we had budgeted. So that's going to result in a net operating surplus after depreciation of close to $40,000. That may tighten a little bit as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year, but we're confident we'll be able to finish this year in the black. One thing we always love to point out around this time of year is just the importance of the St. Peter Lutheran Foundation. It's existed as a separate foundation since 2013. The board that is appointed by our governing board does a wonderful job managing the investment and distribution of assets from the foundation. And what you'll see is that the total assets now is about $7.4 million. And that is just amazing. We expect many more gifts to come in the years to come. Maybe you've seen the legacy wall by the main entrance area and the welcome desk. That's a way to honor and thank people who have already made gifts through their estates or to our foundation. And those we know are coming down the line. In fact, in the last fiscal year, or as of technically not fiscal year, since last year this time, we received an additional $476,000, and that's just amazing. That's a kind of a steady stream we've seen the last several years, and we expect to continue moving forward. As a result, the foundation has been able to give out almost $6 million in grants, most of it to the ministries of St. Peter, but also to many other ministries throughout the country and across the world. God is really good and has blessed us through that. In this current fiscal year, that has led to about $411,000 in grants to our ministry through our operating plan. And so it's a very important third source revenue stream to help the ministry continue to operate and to grow into the future. I tell you that because that you'll also see that in our budget for next year. So let me jump to that right now. We are continuing to keep our target for tithes and offerings at about $2 million. That does not include our mission offerings, which is approximately $60,000 a year, give or take. That's money we collect every weekend in worship and give away to our mission partners. So that would be above and beyond the $2 million in tithes and regular offerings. We're expecting our tuition to return to something close to what we had planned for this current year. So that's about an additional $233,000 in tuition income based on a little better enrollment than what we had this year. And then, like I mentioned with the foundation, we have about $375,000 in grant funding anticipated in this budget. Two things worth noting there. That does include a potential targeted matching challenge as needed in the Saints Annual Fund. I mentioned that earlier. And then also something we're excited about, $26,000 from our new Christian Education Fund. This is the newest fund in our foundation, and it was created explicitly and specifically, I should say, in order to provide additional revenue for K-8 education so we can raise the quality and keep the cost down for our families for our Christian education, and especially grades K-8. On that topic, let me show you a couple of charts that we are using on the staff and board level to start to plan for a future where we want to see our enrollment continue to grow in the school. This first one here, it's got a lot of colors on it, colors of the rainbow. That was just to help you track grades as they move through year after year in the school year, to show you how classes move throughout. Now, this is very simple analysis. There's a lot more detail that could go into it, but it's just to illustrate kind of a high, a medium, and a low level of expectation. So this one right here is the high level. This would be if we were able to, in a few years, have every seat filled in every classroom moving forward. What would that potentially look like? And so what you can see is after a few years, a steady stream of class sizes that are growing up to eventually 40 students per grade level. That would be kindergarten through 8th grade. That's what we're focusing on here, okay? And so the best that we could possibly imagine would be sometime, maybe 10 years from now, having 40 students per grade. That would be 2 sections of 20. That would allow us to begin to fill out our classrooms all the way from kindergarten through 8th grade. Now that's probably a stretch. Like, we haven't seen those kind of numbers around St. Peter since the baby boomer years of the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. And if you look at any demographic projections for our communities, that's probably not likely to return. But that's what we love to see, if we could fill every seat in every section of every grade throughout. On the low side, if we're to look at that next, this would be a set of projections that's closer to our recent past. That is the last 15 years or so, as long as I've been at St. Peter, would be class sizes somewhere around 25, right? So this shows you how we could potentially get back to where we've been in the last, let's say, decade or so. It would still be a very healthy and large school with 225 students throughout K-8. The trickiness here, though, is 25 is really big for a single section and too small to be able to comfortably split into 2 sections. And so this is where we really want to be, where we have full classrooms, but not unrealistic expectations. And this would be somewhere around 32 kids per grade section from kindergarten throughout, which would allow us to split it into 2 sections of 16 or so students, a really nice class size, where the rooms aren't too full, but the numbers all work. And what we're excited about is in our kindergarten class for next year, we have really close to that sweet target number of 32 kids who are planning to come to school at St. Peter next year. 25 of them, you'll see in the top left corner, are full-time kindergarten students. There's another 7 that are going to be in a part-time kindergarten or half-day position. We're hopeful that we can retain at least a handful of those, and so next year maybe get to that 32 number and then keep working towards that moving forward. I tell you that to say our enrollment is stable. And we're hopeful that it'll continue to grow in the years to come. And in the not distant future, we'll start to see classes that are the same or even bigger than they have been in recent past. That's what we're really aiming towards. And so to that end, on the expense side of our budget, across the board, we're giving a 2.5% cost of living increase to most of our staff. The only ones that doesn't include is seasonal staff like summer camp that are already locked into a position for this next summer, which spans 2 fiscal years. And we target as best we can the Social Security cost of living increase for that. And so that's what we're going for this year. We have a couple new classroom positions that we're excited about for our school, including a new specialist position in the grades kindergarten through 3rd grade. We've already filled that position, so we're super excited about that. And then there's a couple new preschool sections, half day and full day, I believe, that we're looking to add some staffing for as well as our preschool enrollment continues to remain strong. We are also budgeting more for major repairs in our facility. Like I mentioned before, we had about $70,000 in additional costs this year, and so we're building that into the budget for next year with the long-term goal of getting that to somewhere closer to $300,000 or even more in the future, so we can have a healthy funding for the ongoing care of our facility. So we're taking our first step in that direction. If you add all that up, we're looking at a year-end surplus after depreciation of just under $10,000, which we figure is a healthy place to land. And so we're excited to be able to present this budget for ratification by our voting members on our next voters meeting, which will be, if you haven't seen it in the email and online already, it'll be Saturday, May 17th after our 5 o'clock church service. So come to worship, 5 o'clock. I'll be preaching that weekend as well. And stick around for our voters meeting. If you come on Sundays or attend another church and you want to just listen in on some of our plans, you're always welcome to join our meetings. It'll be starting right around 6 o'clock or shortly after, depending on how long I preach. That's probably the biggest thing. So looking forward to spending this time with you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you can join us on Saturday, May 17th at around 6 o'clock, we'd love to have you join us. Otherwise, God is good. Thanks for your attention and have a great week.